Alright, so we have a wheelbarrow here, and this thing I got from just out in the woods. Somebody brought it back here, had a flat tire. Looks like the stems broke off, so the tire really isn't salvageable. It's kind of cracked too, so I'm going to try to cut the tire off and use the inner tube as like a big Ranger band. I'm not sure if I'll have any practical use for it right now, but it's something that I can salvage from this. The wheelbarrow itself is actually in great shape. The wood still pretty decent. Not much rust on it. It's got all the parts and everything. You could just buy a new tire and it would be a good wheelbarrow. However, right now I don't have a house or a yard or a property, and this thing is now in the middle of the woods, and it would be incredibly difficult to take out, so it's not really worth bothering with. But I'm just kind of looking it over and seeing what I could repurpose and salvage these parts for. So you got to think, if you're out here in a bug out location in the woods, survival, bushcraft, what have you, and you find a man-made item like this, well, you could turn it into something useful. So the metal bucket, that's a huge resource. You could store gallons of water in that. As it is right now, technically it's protecting anything under it, so it's waterproof except for water coming up through the ground, which you could fix. You can use that as like a bucket seat. You can rig it up a certain way. You can actually make a chair out of that. This is good here because it's an axle, and that's basically like a, could be used as a pulley or some sort of gear for whatever. It's already hooked onto a frame as well. Then you have the metal part there, and that's pretty decent. Not really sure offhand what you can do with that, but it's gonna be interesting. So I'm just gonna salvage this, cut some stuff off of it, and see what we can do. This is what I ended up doing with the wheelbarrow. I cut off the tire, disassembled the wheel mount, some hardware down there. I cut up the inner tube a little bit, made some Ranger bands here. And then I just got the rest of the wheelbarrow here. And I made a Paiute Deadfall Trap. This would technically be a live trap. And all that happens is they walk under there for bait, step on the stick, falls down, whatever's in there is completely trapped. And the only way to get out would be to like dig out, because they're not going to be able to lift that up. It's going to be too heavy. I can even put some more weight on the top. It's nice that there's all this structure here that I can put some big rocks or some logs in there just to add to the weight. I had a different idea for these stakes and just ended up putting the handles around them there. And all that would really do is just kind of stabilize it, but it doesn't do a whole lot. But like I said, it was for something different I had planned. It didn't work out. It's cool to have this part because it helps when you're setting it. You can lift it up by that instead of the lip with the bucket there. And this area here kind of has a trail which goes through here. I cleared that out to encourage animals to come in here. And this is a very clear, open area that I made. So this would be a nice sanctuary for animals. And naturally, if there's food here, they'll be attracted to it and they'll come up under that wheelbarrow. One cool thing about it, and I did another video on this called the levered deadfall, is that it's not resting directly on this back lip here. It's off the ground, and it extends out to those arms, which gives you more leverage, which lifts the whole thing up off the ground more. That is beneficial because when it drops, it gives it a better angle to come down. Instead of pivoting off of that back lip, it's pivoting off of those handles. And more ideally, the further back you can get it, if this thing, instead of falling at an angle, would drop straight down, then it would actually fall faster. But it's still pretty good like this. It also gives the animal a little more room to kind of walk in there. And I just used bigger sticks because we have a bigger deadfall weight here. And once you know how to make these, you can just extrapolate up in size. You could have something gigantic, some big gigantic crate or something, and use thick sticks. Just make them proportioned right. So I'll probably have some bait that leads in a trail along here. What I want to do is get it dangling or attached to the ceiling somehow. I may use those rivets in there, take some monofilament line and just dangle bait. Because you want to get, what they're going to do is if they see bait, they're just going to stand right here and just kind of peck in or just nibble around. They're not going to commit to going inside. So you want to have bait way up in there to get them to walk all the way in, and then when this comes down, it's kind of cool that it's got the bucket shape, because that's going to immediately be over their head. So even if they try to back out, it's just going to get around their body and push them back in. So we'll set it off, just see how it works. There's your sensitivity right there. You can put that right on the edge, but that trigger stick's so heavy and that toggle's so thin that it really just wants to drop off of there. So you'll see how this thing, so if we can get a good angle, how it works. So just, everything flies clear. The one bad thing is it lifts it off the ground a little bit and that trigger stick sticks out. So I don't like that. But it's kind of, I may have to just get a thinner stick. But you can see if there was an animal in there, raccoon or, I mean, anything, possums, turkey, whatever. It's going to be trapped. There's no way to get out. Even if it was completely flush in the bottom, there'd still be enough air, more than likely, that it wouldn't like suffocate to death. But this would be to catch animals that you intend to eat or kill, so it wouldn't really matter if they did die, because you're going to make them dead anyways. I'm not really sure how to tell that you caught something unless you just bang on it and hopefully it shuffles around inside. You could always lift it up a crack and kneel down and shine a light in there and see if you see feet. And then that of course brings the next question of how do you dispatch it. And I can think of some creative ways to do that, which I won't really get into discussing unless I actually catch something with it. Yeah, the wheel's off. That could be put back on if need be. And just the rim itself could be used to push it around without the tire. Or you could just replace the rim and or the tire and have a functional wheelbarrow again. But I could easily take this thing apart, excuse me, and use the bucket, like I said, for a chair or something. But we'll give it a try as a trap right now and see what happens. Alright, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.